It says the length of a rectangle is 5 more than the width. The perimeter is 120. What is the length, width, and area of this rectangle? All right, so the first thing I do when I do these types of problems is I want to go ahead and draw a picture. So I'm going to draw a picture of a rectangle. Okay, and we know that a rectangle has a 90-degree angle. And then also we know that opposite sides of a rectangle, because they are a parallelogram, are congruent to each other. And congruent means that they are the same size, same shape, but in this case, it'd be the same length, okay? And that's what each one of those bars means. 2 bars means that those sets are congruent. 1 bar means that those sets are individually congruent. So it says the length of a rectangle is 5 more than the width. And when we go back to these statements, we talk about that we've been working on, we look for those sentences where we can build some kind of relationship. And what this says is the length of a rectangle is, so the length is, there's that equal 5 more than, there's the addition, the width, or W, okay? So we can underline those. So I'm gonna rewrite that statement out here, but I'm gonna do it mathematically. I'm gonna say L is 5 more than the width, 5 plus W. Now, the one thing we are going to do is I'm going to put the length somewhere on this rectangle, and I'm going to say, well, this must be 5 plus W. And it actually doesn't matter which side of the rectangle I put it on to start. The only thing that matters is I recognize that the length has to be the same on opposite sides. So this is also 5 plus W. Okay. Now, you'll notice that it doesn't really say anything about the width. And that is because the length depends on the width, and the width is going to be, it's a variable all by itself. So I'm going to put a W for the width over here. And then the last thing that tells us is it tells us that the perimeter is 120. And if you remember, the perimeter is the distance of the boundary of the object. So it is the length of the boundary of the object. So the perimeter, or P, equals to 120. Well, how do we find the perimeter? We add all the sides. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the perimeter in order to find the width, and then we're going to do that to help us find the length. So what we could do is we can go ahead and say, well, I know that the perimeter of 120 is the same thing as W plus W and plus 5 plus W and another 5 plus W. Or we can just double them up. W plus W is 2W, plus another W is 3, plus another W is 4W. So I can write 120 equals to 4W plus 5, which is 10. And at this point, we just do our basic solving that we're used to doing. So we can solve for the width. Subtract 10. We get 110 equals to 4W. And then we divide by 4. Okay, W will come out, which is our width, and it is going to be 110 divided by 4. Okay, so we can take 110, go into our Desmos, and divide it by 4, and that is going to give us 27.5. Okay, so I come back to systems and I say W is 27.5. Okay, and that is our width. Okay, so our width is equal to 27.5. If I want to find the length, now all I need to do is find the length. I'm going to come back up here to our original length formula, and I'm just going to write 5 plus 27.5. And when we add those together, you should get 32.5. Okay, so 32.5. And we can also just add that off to the side, 32.5 of our shape. Now, the last thing it tells us, so we found our length, we have found our width. The last thing we want to do is find the area. And if you remember the area of a rectangle, AP, that is the same thing as length times width. So because it is length times width, I'm literally just going to take 27.5 and I'm going to multiply it by 32.5. Come back to Desmos. I'm going to type in 27.5 times 32.5. And that is going to give us 893. And that is going to be 893. And we are talking about, it's not telling us anything about its length in inches or centimeters. So I'm just going to put units squared. Unit squared, because I'm not sure what that measurement is in this